So I've been struggling with this particular issue in my continuous builds of how do you do a continuous build that basically starts from bare metal, whether it's a virtual machine or a real physical machine, and builds it up to the point where you install your software. Came across this really interesting project called Cobbler. It's right up here on fedorahosted.org. That basically kind of puts together all of the things that you need to be able to do a network boot and install of a virtual machine. It brings up, once you get it installed on either a Fedora or Ubuntu box, it brings up a nice web interface where you can sort of manage the whole system. And it has these things called distros, profiles, kickstart templates, and snippets. So the whole idea is that you have a network boot server that has a particular distribution on it, Ubuntu, CentOS, whatever operating system you guys are working with for a base install. You set up a virtual machine, and you use either Kickstart, or most operating systems have another automated install mechanism that's similar. Ubuntu has one, Windows has another. Right here I have CentOS 32-bit up and running on my Cobbler virtual machine, which is this one right over here. So this is a Fedora 14 box that I just built up as a virtual machine. I have this particular virtual machine listening on two interfaces so that I don't have a network boot server here on the wireless LAN. I have it on an internal network that is internal to VirtualBox, so it's not going to see anything outside of there. I can go over to VirtualBox itself, create a brand new empty virtual machine. So this is a brand new machine set up for Red Hat, 768 megs, blank, 8 GB drive. There are a couple tweaks that I need to do to get this to actually work. One is to tell it to connect to the same internal network as the boot server. 2 is to tell it to use an AMD card so it can do a network boot. And 3 is to tell it to actually do a network boot. Once that's up and running, I can start it up, power on this particular machine, and it should do, this is the BIOS on the virtual machine doing a DHCP boot. It's going to ping the network boot server. I tell it to use a particular profile from Cobbler, which you can actually set up to do based on a MAC address, so you can do this as part of your continuous build. All these steps with VirtualBox you can do on the command line rather than through the UI. So right up in here, we're starting up. This is the very first boot you would do on a Red Hat machine if you were booting off the CD or the DVD. It's got to mess around and talk to the network a little bit. And I don't have a full DNS and DHCP here, so it's not going to find the host name and domain. If we wait a couple seconds, this will go through automatically. And all of this stuff can happen headless. So if you have a headless server inside your lab, this can all run headless. And I don't know if it's going to get all the way through in 1 minute. But basically, you can set up a whole laboratory of virtual machines, take care of the operating system install, and then have this go into downloading all of the rest of your bits of your software off the network, like a database, JVM, your Tomcat stack, and get it up and running basically from nothing up to a full running stack in under about 5 minutes. Unfortunately, I started at minute number 3 here, but you can see as this is going through here, this will actually start a full Fedora installation. It's partitioning the disks, it's determining the packages, there we go, formatting, root file system, boot file system. It'll go through the whole package installation. This is actually running relatively fast because it's on a SSD. And in 15 seconds, let's see if this will get through. It says it can do it in 11, 12. Fighting the clock. But basically, anyway, you can get to the point where all of this stuff can run headless as part of your Hudson or whatever your continuous environment is. and you're golden.